Hey everybody, it's Doug Schauf with the Make Maine Your Home team over at Remax Oceanside. Today we're going to talk about something super exciting. Homeowners insurance. Yes, it's going to be super exciting video. You have to stay through the whole thing because I'm going to talk about some really important things. There are some areas of the country where it's very hard, very difficult and expensive to get insurance. So I'm going to shine some light on what insurance looks like here in the state of Maine. So if you're looking at moving here, if you're already here and you're like, oh my God, I need insurance, you're going to want to check out this whole video. I'll try to move quick. I'm going to try to make it exciting. So let's do this. But before we do this, I got to do the little disclaimer. I am not an insurance agent. I'm a real estate broker. I'm going to give you some overall cool things about homeowners insurance, but I'm also going to recommend to talk to an agent about all this stuff. You don't take my word for it, okay? What the heck does home insurance cover? If you talk to the insurance companies, you know what it covers? Nothing. I'm just kidding. First off, you got dwelling coverage. All right, this is going to protect your structure against all sorts of stuff. I don't want to make a list right now because I might miss something and then someone's going to come and say, you said. So dwelling coverage, that's, your structure, okay, your house itself. You're going to have some coverage on that. Personal property coverage, your furniture, your clothes, all your stuff. If you had very expensive like jewelry or something like that in the house, I do know this. You can call that out on your homeowner's insurance so they know it's there, especially if it's something that's like worth a lot of money. You want to make sure it's listed, you can do that. Also, what they're going to cover, liability. Like, when you get auto insurance and it's like really just liability. So you're really just covering like whatever you hit, you're paying for that. Kind of like that. Somebody walks into your property, gets hurt, your insurance can cover those types of things. And then last but not least is loss of use or ale, not like a beer. Additional living expenses, like if you need to stay at a hotel because something happened to your house, you need to get out of there, those types of things. Some homeowners insurance will cover those things. All good stuff, but it's really important to know what's included in your policies and what's not, okay? So whatever you're getting, talk to your insurance agent, and we know a few, and we can pass them on to you if you need them, but talk to them and make sure you're covered the way you want to be covered. Next up on the list to talk about this exciting topic of homeowners insurance, Maine-specific things. Things like flooding is not necessarily covered. Other areas of the country might be like, hey, it floods all the time here. We need to cover all that. It's very important. So here in Maine, while there is some flood issues in different areas, it's not like standard. You need more insurance, flood insurance policies if you're in the flood zone and you need those types of things. So you want to be mindful of that. Things like ice dams and snow load, though, yes, okay, that can be standard things, and you're going to want to make sure that you're covered for those things. So if you have damaged roof, et cetera, you're covered. So flooding, not so much. Snow on your roof, yes. This is a very, very important conversation that we're about to have here, okay? So you really, really want to pay attention here. So we're going to talk about replacement costs. Over the last few years, especially if you had homeowners insurance for a long time, replacement costs are an important thing to think about because 5 years ago, your house was worth a lot less and the cost to build it, if it went away, was a lot less too. So you do want to be mindful of what your replacement cost is. Like, for example, if you got insurance 10 years ago and the replacement cost was set for $200,000 and it's a fixed replacement cost that's in there, fast forward now, let's say it's $600,000 to replace it and something happens to your house, you got that huge gap that you're going to have to cover. So you're going to be really mindful of that. Actual cash value does, keep in mind factors like wear and tear, things like that. But replacement costs, if something happens where your house is just destroyed and gone, it needs to be rebuilt. Those are the costs you want to look at. It's as easy as calling your insurance agent to look at your policy and just see what the replacement costs are. A lot of insurances have switched to just automatic adjustments based on things, but sometimes it doesn't factor the local area that you're in and the appreciation cost. So you want to be mindful of that. So if you call them and you're like, that it would cost $500,000 to fix your house or to rebuild your house, and you call your insurance agent and they're like, oh, we got a $300,000 replacement cost, you're going to want to up that. The cost is minimal, I believe. Don't yell at me if I'm wrong. But the cost, I believe, is pretty minimal to raise that replacement cost if you need to. So check that out. Get the right coverage amounts for you. We talked about rebuild costs, replacement costs on things, but also enough for your personal property coverage. what you have in the house. I mentioned earlier, like you can call out things that are of high value. Now, if those things that you have in your house appreciate in time, you might want to adjust that periodically. And unfortunately, those are things that you just kind of forget about. You might want to be mindful and check in on those things. Again, if it's something that appreciates in value and you got it set really low, something does happen, you're going to want to make sure you're covered. And liability protection, same thing. You're going to want to make sure that you have enough coverage to protect yourself if somebody gets hurt on your property. Well, it might not be your fault. It's still on your property and you're going to be liable for that. So you're going to want to make sure you have enough to cover all that. Review your deductibles too. Higher deductibles usually means lower premiums, but you do want to make sure that you have the money to pay out of pocket for that kind of stuff. If it does happen, a lot of times you get insurance thinking, oh, nothing will happen. But then it does, and that's what it's there for. Understand what's not covered. If you talk to the insurance companies, nothing's covered. I'm just kidding. I'm like down on insurance companies today. Apologize, insurance companies. Maybe you're not all bad. So things like jewelry, electronics, collectibles, all that stuff, you might need special coverage for. So again, you want to call that out there. Make sure your insurance agents know what you're doing. Standard policies probably don't cover floods and earthquakes and a light breeze. Here's a big deal. Shop around, just like anything else. Okay, sorry, insurance agents, but go out there and get quotes from lots of people. All right, talk to everybody and everybody. Bundle, that's like the hot topic. Every commercial says bundle and save. Talk to your insurance agent, see what's going to be the least expensive for the most coverage, all that kind of stuff. Oh, here's some good stuff though. Ask about discounts, like security systems will typically bring your insurance rates down. That's kind of nice. New roofs, upgrades, things like that. Sprinkler systems, if that's there. All those things you're going to want to make sure your agent knows about. They'll probably ask you those things, but be mindful to have that information ready for them so they can give you the best deals they can. Staying claims free. It does benefit you not to use your insurance. You can play that game. If something happens and it's pretty minor, maybe you just, and you have the cash to take care of it, maybe you just take care of it yourself. Even if it's something major, maybe kind of look at it from those eyes of, to make your rates go up, et cetera, et cetera. So you can play that game. If claims are needed, you could play that game. Are they really needed, or can you get by? Final tip, update and review your policy regularly. There you go. That's it. No, I'm just kidding. Just again, like we talked about with the replacement costs and other things, it's definitely worth your time every year or two to really analyze your insurance that you have, your policies that you have, talk to your agent. Sometimes you might be able to get better rates just by talking it through with them, and save a little bit of money, but you can also make sure, most importantly, you're covered for what you want and think you're covered for. So check that out and update it regularly. So, hey guys, hopefully this was helpful. I know we were talking about insurance, maybe not the most exciting topic, but hey, I had fun. And remember, if you make Maine your home, you don't have to do it alone. Hey, come here. Hey, YouTube thinks you're going to like one of these videos, so click on it and let me know what you think. And remember, come back again soon because we do a video every Friday.